One of the lessons that I've had to learn that Cooper's been really instrumental, if painful, in teaching me is the idea of paying yourself first. It's a concept that's used in business, like for entrepreneurs a lot, to make sure that you don't, just work yourself to death for nothing in the end. But I think it's a really useful concept just for life in general. It's been really helpful, and it's exactly what I'm practicing right now. Let me explain. The gist of it is, the less well I take care of myself, the less well I can take care of Cooper, right? And taking care of Cooper is a pretty important job. If I don't get out, get my exercise, if I don't feed myself well, if I don't sleep well, I'm gonna be a miserable person to be around. He's not gonna wanna be around me. But if I can take care of myself, if I can be happy, the happier that I can be, the happier we'll both be, because then I'll have more time and energy for him, I'll have a better attitude, I won't get as annoyed with him. If I can put my needs first, make sure that they're taken care of, then I can put his needs second and also better make sure they're taken care of. It's one of those things that was actually really difficult for me to start to implement in my own life because, the way I was raised, which is something that we haven't talked about a whole lot yet because, as I shared recently, I'm kind of terrified to talk too much about it, but, we're breaking through these barriers. And the way that I was raised was like putting myself first in almost anything, like my own needs above anything else pretty much was selfish, if not borderline evil, which I know evil is an extreme word, but, like I said, I take things to a little bit of an extreme place sometimes, especially in my youth. I'm actually up in Montmartre to have brunch with Jess right now at Hardware Society because I've been craving their pain perdu, their French toast, ever since the last time I was here, which was for the brunch video. If you haven't seen the brunch video, be sure to watch that. And if you haven't seen Jess in my podcast or listened to it yet, it's available on the members only feed. I will put a link to that below. It's a really good podcast. We talk about the whole process of her naturalization of becoming French. It's very good. We're here to have brunch. It looks like a fairly decent line. So hopefully we're still gonna have brunch. We'll find out. It's always really nice with the bells. I love coming up to Montmartre. It's so quiet on the weekends too. Oh, little doggy. The thing is, this is one of those things that led to burnout, among other things, is working myself to death for the voices in my head, for the people that depend on me, for everyone but myself. Like putting my health, my sleep, everything at risk to try and please voices both real and imagined. And the reality is that if you don't take care of yourself first, of course you're going to fall apart. It's not going to go well. And I needed to learn that lesson, but it was not an easy lesson to learn. Cooper's helped me with that because early on I fell into the same trap. I reoriented my entire life around him, which to some degree is necessary because he's a baby, but as he becomes less of a baby, it becomes easier to realize, no, I need to put myself first. Like this morning, I'm going to go for a run before I take him out because, obviously I took him out to go to the bathroom before I went for the run, so, take care of some needs. But I'm going to go get my exercise before I get him his exercise, because if I get mine right away, then my day is going to go so much better, and I'm going to feel better. I'm going to feed myself first. I'm going to make sure I eat something before I worry about feeding him. I'm going to, get what I need first, and then he's more likely to get what he needs in the process. Is the analogy clicking? It's a really good, strong, obvious analogy, but we're both going to have a happier life. If I take care of me first, the better I take care of myself, the better I can take care of him. It's a long overdue cup of coffee. It's been a long morning. Good morning. My bone. It is, of course, really easy to project onto this little face because it's so cute. But really, at the end of the day, Cooper just needs to like sleep, eat, drink, poop, pee, play, and be with me. As long as he's with me, he's happy. And, you know, if he's got all those things in, I don't need to worry too much about how he feels. So Jess, well, I did say this, but Jess did a really, really nice podcast episode with me. So again, just to plug Garage Monologues. And we're going to be doing Christmas cards again soon. I think we might have missed last year. I'm not sure, but if you aren't already a patron, or if you're not at the $10 and up level, we're going to be sending Christmas cards out to everybody at that level and above. Because normally postcards and prints go to $25 and $50 levels, but you know, Christmas cards can go to the $10 level people. And thank you to all my patrons, including my patron producer of the day, Scott Charters, and all of my patrons. Thank you so much for being here in general, sending us out for a little bit of coffee. And I think we might start doing, because I'm vlogging more regularly, we might start doing polls again. So if there's a place you want me to go try the coffee, or a certain pastry you want to see it tried out, or whatever, maybe we might have to reintroduce that here soon. On the docket are my buddy Mark, who just landed from somewhere in West Africa, and my buddy Eva, who just landed from Greece. There's a lot of activity today, so we're gonna get, I don't know, maybe some dinner or something. We'll see. Thanks. I am all over town today. Ava and her sister are near Montparnasse, which I would not recommend. And if they had bought my guide, they would have known that. If they'd plug. If you do want to get my guide, I do talk pretty exhaustively about where I would and wouldn't stay in the city. I don't have any real recommendations right around here. Like, I've got some spots I want to check out, but it's kind of a desert for food and drink. There are a couple of spots. There's a beer bar that I know not far from here, but just saying, you know, if you want to end up in a neighborhood that matches your style, PierceMyPocket.com will get it done. Anyways, let's plug over. We need to find them. I am really hungry, so whatever we eat, yeah, I'm sure we'll be fine. It'll be food, if nothing else. Not Coop, you're not picky. You're not eating. So we don't care. But speaking of recommending things while we're walking, nope, leave that, buddy. Like in all areas of life, in business, it can be tempting to pour everything that you have back into your business, which I think is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, you always want to reinvest in your business, and I take everything that I make from Patreon, guide sales, and everything, and try to reinvest it back into what I do, as far as like exploring, giving recommendations, but also just the quality of what I'm doing, reinvesting in equipment. And then of course there's a lot of, other costs like French taxes and so forth that, get in there. But it took me a long time until recently, until the last scare that I had, thanks to the French government, to start setting money aside for myself for real, and as more than just an emergency fund, although I do need one of those too. Like, start paying myself first, recognizing that there will always be more bills, there will always be more things I could invest in, better equipment I could get, trips I could take, things I could do to make better videos. But if I'm not paying myself before I do those things, there will never be money left for me. And it's really hard for me because money's a challenge. Like I said, with the way I was raised, not only thinking that like taking care of myself is somehow like an evil form of selfish, but just wasn't raised with money. We didn't have money, but also wasn't raised with a good relationship with money. And it plays out in very real ways day to day. I'm also really hoping that I went the right way. I've been talking and not looking at where I'm going. I think we want to go over here.
Oh, the boy on fire right there, boy. Look at it go.
Oh my God.
How are you?
That's all it is. That's the beat.
Dave is like a travel presenter who quit her job on an existing show to make her own show, and that's what they're shooting right now as a pilot. So, but it's all in Greek, so I have no. She probably just said like these French fries are shaped kind of like carrots. I have no idea what'd you say. Can you tell me actually just one thing you said about the food?
I explained what it is. This is fish and chips, and this is a plate with
A bunch of fried stuff, yeah.
prawns and stuff like that.
Perfect. She's eating whatever her followers on Instagram choose for her. So if you want to go follow her on Instagram and mess with her, this is your opportunity right now. I'll put a link below. I just went for a steak because steak. It's like a real jalapeno popper. This restaurant is so random. From dinner to toothbrushes, one of the sisters, I won't say who, forgot a toothbrush. We're gonna go meet Mark on the river here for a second. But to get back to what I was saying earlier, I guess that's ultimately the lesson that I've learned is to try to make sure that I'm in the best space and condition that I can. It's taken me a long time to get to where I am now. It took a lot of investment because I was way behind on actually investing in myself and in my health. And as I've done that, it makes everything else better. The ice cream sign just fell off the wall next to me in this place. I might take a step back from the building before the whole thing comes down. And that whole concept of paying myself first, whether it's in business, which I'm still only lightly doing, because I do want to make sure that I put everything back into this channel and the stuff that we're making behind the scenes for you as possible. I do want to also make sure that, okay, yeah, I'm not like endangering myself in the process. And I don't know if that's something that like resonates with any of you, but I imagine it resonates with some of you. One of the analogies that I used to always say, especially when I worked with an NGO in West Africa and people's health would come up, and I'd give great advice that I never took, was you have to get into the lifeboat first before you can pull people into it after you, right? If you're in the water and you're trying to save people, it's how you drown. Right? You gotta get to safety first, or you gotta make sure that you're taken care of first before you try to save other people. And it's a dramatic one, but it makes a lot of sense. And even in the less dramatic ways of life, like you can't always put yourself first. There's always gonna be a need to put others first at one point or another. That's relationships. That's totally fine and normal. I'm not arguing for being hyper selfish, but for me, since I tend to err the other way and be a little bit over generous, I need to remind myself it's okay to put myself first from time to time, and it's okay to take care of what I need from time to time, and then everything just seems to go better that way. Would you like me to help with that water, by the way? What I didn't realize is that she's actually letting her followers vote on everything in the show. So hopefully the show, you're going to be too late by the time you see this to screw with her show, but in the next episode, maybe.
None of us has to be. None of us has to be. Trials and tribulations. None of us has to be. Trials and tribulations. None of us has to be.